SFU's honorary degree is the highest honor conferred by the university. Honorary degrees are awarded to distinguished individuals in recognition of their scholarly, scientific, or artistic achievement, or in recognition of exceptional contribution to the public good through professional or philanthropic activity. Honorary degree recipients' achievements celebrate what the university values and serve as an inspiration and role model to our students, graduates, and our community. The honorary degree will now be conferred. To present the honorary degree candidate, the Right Reverend Michael Ingham, I'm pleased to welcome Reverend Victor Thomas. Reverend Thomas is pastor of the Point Community Church, and he is also the director of the SFU Interfaith Center. Reverend Thomas.
Mr. President, I present to you Bishop Michael Ingham, a true servant to many in Vancouver and around the world. His bold leadership of the New Westminster Diocese has made him a well-known figure in leadership circles in Vancouver. In 2000, the Vancouver Sun named him the 6th most influential spiritual leader in British Columbian history, and in 2003, he was the subject of a full profile in the Saturday edition of the New York Times. The same year, Maclean's named him the 3rd most significant newsmaker in Canada. In July 2008, Britain's Daily Telegraph named him one of the 25 most influential Anglicans in the world. And recently, Vancouver Magazine listed him among the top 45 people who've made Vancouver better. He has left his mark, especially in Vancouver. Originally from Yorkshire, he moved here in 1976. He received an MA in politics and philosophy and first-class honors in theology from the University of Edinburgh, and furthered his postgraduate work at Harvard. Ordained in Ottawa in 1974, he moved to Vancouver to serve as a parish priest in West Vancouver and Burnaby. In 1989, he became the principal secretary to the primate in Toronto, and in 1992 returned as Dean of Christ Church Cathedral. He was elected the 8th Bishop of New Westminster a year later, and he is currently the longest-serving active Anglican bishop in Canada. Bishop Michael Ingham has led his diocese courageously, sometimes making hard and controversial decisions. His leadership has resulted in the liberalization of the Anglican Communion locally and potentially globally. A noted champion of the rights of the poor and needy, he says the important matters of business is to focus one's attention on the disenfranchised. His diocese provides 650 homeless, elderly, low-income people a bed to sleep each night, and 5,000 meals a month through parish and soup kitchens. It also actively seeks reconciliation with Canada's Indigenous people, sponsors programs for seniors and youth, and supports missions to seafarers, which host 50,000 seafarers a year in Vancouver ports. He is the author of 2 books, one of which, on interfaith dialogue, is a powerful call for religions to contribute to global peace. Bishop Michael Ingham's contributions have been widely hailed at home and around the world. He has shaped his community and the lives of many in this city, and for that we owe our deepest gratitude. Mr. President, on behalf of the Senate of this university, I would like to ask you now to confirm upon Bishop Michael Ingham the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Michael Ingham, by virtue of the authority vested in me and in the Senate of this university, I hereby admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Dr. Ingham will be hooded by Dr. John Driver, Vice President Academic, and Dr. Tim Raleigh, Associate Vice President Students. It is with great pleasure. Now it is with great pleasure that I call on Dr. Michael Ingham for his convocation address. Dr. Ingham.
Mr. President, distinguished guests, faculty, graduands, thank you very much for this honor. I deeply appreciate it and I'm very grateful. It's unusual for a secular university to recognize the work of religious leaders. But this is not the first time Simon Fraser University has done this. 9 years ago, you conferred the same honor upon His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. You are a university which recognizes that religion can be a source for good, and that engaging the world should mean, among other things, supporting the forces of religious progress. When I became a bishop, someone said to me that the role of a bishop is to sit on the fence while keeping both ears firmly to the ground. I tried this for several years and found it quite painful in a certain area of the anatomy. It's a position from which you can't really take a stand. But I follow a master who crossed religious boundaries in his day and broke religious taboos in order to stand beside suffering people, the lost, the marginalized, and the broken-hearted. This is the role of a leader. We live in a time when religious fundamentalism is growing in all faiths and traditions. It's a movement rooted in fear. The answer, in my view, is not to abandon religious faith, but to join the side of religious progress. Religions must work for the equality of women. Religions must uphold the dignity of gay, lesbian, and transgendered people. Religions must work to safeguard the integrity of God's creation. And religions must work together, not against each other, for justice and peace. I have never believed in a God who was white, male, or elitist. I believe in a God who is engaged on the side of life, often with powerless people, against the many faces of death. And that is my invitation to each of you today who is graduating. When you leave here, most of you will become leaders in the fields of education and the health sciences. You will have glorious opportunities to work on the side of life. And by that I mean for human dignity, for social justice, respect for the earth, and for all its many forms of life. Be bold and courageous in your work. Be principled and ethical. Be compassionate. Take risks and commit yourselves to the difficult triumph of hope. There is a poem by Goethe that has always inspired me, and I leave it with you now. Goethe writes this: "There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment you definitely commit yourself, then God moves too. All sorts of things occur to help you that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from your decision, raising in your favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no one could have dreamt would come their way. Whatever you can do, or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it, so begin it now." Thank you very much.